Hey guys, welcome to the all paranormal episode of Off the Reservation. A podcast of alien sightings, skinwalkers, and we discuss the fact that Jackie Chan's pants are just as flexible as him. I'm Mal.
I'm Al.
And I'm the Son of Picasso.
So really, how are Jackie Chan's pants just as flexible as him? I mean, that guy can do like high kicks, side kicks, flip kicks,
Back kicks.
back kicks. Are there all kinds of kicks?
There's all kinds of kicks.
My favorite cereal was Kicks.
But it all comes down to why don't his pants split?
Yeah, seriously. Like if you look at it, like all his older movies, they were like made in the 90s back when Levi's had no give. Were they just that indestructible that they didn't split?
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a conspiracy.
I heard that he had actually commissioned for the creation, I guess, of a new material that would actually expand to meet the needs, but also come back. You know, almost like a real early form of what do you call it?
Expendable.
Like jeggings. You know what I mean?
Jeggings?
It was like, and so that's the theory, is that Jackie Chan created
Jeggings?
is the very first form of jeggings, you know.
No way. That makes sense.
Tell me how else the man was able to hike, roundhouse kick, you know.
Or the fact that, like, I mean, he was able to, jump through windows and, you know, not like smash something up.
All those ladder stunts, you know.
Takes a toll on your pants, you
Yeah.
know. And so he needed that. Well, and the story
pants.
goes is he needed something that was durable, that was flexible and breathable.
Yeah.
That makes sense. You don't.
The
You don't.
trifecta of
Yeah.
reliable pants.
And so, you know, he had a crack team of scientists working on this, you know.
They got together people from all the labs around here, Sandia, Intel, Los Alamos. Some of the most brilliant minds got together to
Golden Retriever.
engineer his pants.
Or so the theory goes, you know,
That's the
guys.
theory.
That's the thing,
theory.
guys. It's just, these are all just theories, you know.
They're just theories. Jackie Chan's pants.
There may be truth. There
I
may
feel-
be not. I don't know.
Jackie Chan's pants are like the John Wayne's teeth. John Wayne's teeth.
Are they real?
Are they real? Are they still? Anyone that knows that's from Smoke Signals.
They know.
They know.
You know. Don't
You
deny
know.
it.
Everyone knows. That's the true heart of a good conspiracy is everyone knows.
That's actually my password to my Instagram, John Wayne's Teeth.
Hey, that is it or is it not? I mean, it could just be a theory. But yeah, I guess since we're on our paranormal level of podcasts, and we've already started off with our biggest theory, Jackie Chan's pants. That's kind of just fun to say, Jackie Chan's pants. It kind of just rolls off the tongue.
Jackie Chan's pants.
Which I honestly want to say, like, I do not want Jackie Chan to think that we're making fun of him. The fact is that I do. I mean, like, I feel like martial arts has been a big part of my life, even though I've never partaken in martial arts, other than in the living room.
Doing karate in the garage.
Doing karate in the garage, yes. Because, I mean, like, Jackie Chan was always the coolest. Like, was it Rumble in the Bronx?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, and dude, like the dude, he did all his own stunts, and like I heard the theory that the fact that like because like it was so lower budget kind of a thing that they needed him to do his own stunts, and that's what made him so marketable, is the fact that he did his own stunts. He wasn't afraid to like go and do things. Like, that dude has like broken so many bones, and he's been bloodied so many times doing like his own stunts and things like that. Like, truly, Mr. Jackie Chan, you are a true hero. I salute you.
We salute you.
We salute you and your pants. Your indestructible pants.
Salute your pants.
Whatever they're made of.
All right. Well, this is the all paranormal. We decided, you know what? We gotta dive into here. There's a lot of stories out there, and some personal experiences we've all had.
And the truth is out there.
It is. Only if you're looking up.
I want to believe.
Like, how creepy was that show growing up? Like, you'd be like, what was it, like 9 o'clock, and so you'd be like in bed, but like trying to sneak out of bed to watch, what was it, X-Files with your parents.
Yeah.
Oh, that theme song would like instill fear in like me as a kid. I'd hear it and be like, oh my god,
Freak you out.
turn on all the lights.
But it was so much fun, like trying to find out what was going on.
Have you ever looked back at X-Files now and you're like, why was I afraid of this? This was so badly done, but it's still so good.
I think it holds up. I think it holds up in the sense that like it's kind of like those older, like the old school like The Blob or like The Fog, those kind of movies. But I think it holds up in a way. Like I remember asking Dad, I was like, why is Mulder so like interested in like trying to find out like the truth and like get in contact with aliens and stuff? He's like, it's because his sister. I was like, what? No way. I was like, yeah, his sister was abducted or something like that. And so, yeah, like, I don't know. I liked it.
Yeah, that's scary stuff, man.
Scary stuff. Speaking of abductions, that got really serious. Sorry. I mean, like we've seen our own share of like creepy things that like happen around Albuquerque. Like, what was it? I remember I was driving home with my wife, and what was it? We're driving home, and it's like at that like perfect point when like the sky is starting to turn like blue right before like right after sunset, and all of a sudden we saw like 3 lights in the sky like moving towards the Sandia Mountains, and all of a sudden one of them started to trail off to the right, and the other one started to trail off to the left, and then all of a sudden they just like zipped out of there. While the middle one just like hung around for a bit. I don't know what that was. I can't explain it. I seen things and I can't explain it. And they were orange, which was weird. And like, I felt bad because like I always look at like conspiracy theories videos that they make, like oh man, I saw Bigfoot in the woods or something like that, and they like whip out the camera and record it, and it's like potato quality, like,
oh yeah,
it's all jack up and janky, and you're like, man, like with the technology that we have nowadays, why couldn't you get a better picture? And it was like my time to like shine, and you know, all I got was potato quality video, and I was like, man, it's harder than it looks trying to catch
a moment.
Yeah. Because then you're like sitting there, you're trying to like do the finger thing where you make it bigger and zoom in, and like your other hand shaky, and you're like, man,
your adrenaline's up. You're like, oh,
it's like, I've never done drugs like that before. I don't know why my hands are so shaky.
I had read an article, or I heard a story about a guy up in Montana, and this is like, I actually have this is a photo, right? So he put trail cams up.
Whoa.
He put trail cams up in like this area where he was hunting, and like, so the trail cams, the batteries were supposed to last for like, I don't know, like a month or something, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so he had like several cameras that were set up, and after like 12 days they all just like died. The cameras just died.
That's creepy.
So he thought that was kind of weird, and so as he was examining the footage, he noticed that there was this one where a like humanoid figure was like walking across.
Whoa.
And he was convinced it was an alien, because it was just kind of out in the area. Like, this is at night, you know what I mean, in Montana. Like you know, like what are people, I don't know the exact area, you know.
Can we link that? Like, do you think we could like link that into the video or something, like just like
maybe. Yeah, I can pull a picture up. I'll pull a picture. We'll
see if we can. Like,
I'll show this tweet.
Yeah,
but like, yeah, and it is like, it's definitely creepy, you know. But like, yeah, I was just like, man, that's weird. So yeah, so the batteries die, and he pulls it up, and so it's this picture of like what he believes is an alien, right? And it's somebody walking, and it doesn't look like they're necessarily wearing clothes. It's like skin tight, and the head itself looks kind of bulbous up top,
elongated.
And it's like I've always like thought about that, like you think about like I wonder what goes on like if you like live somewhere that was more rural. You know what I mean? You kind of like wonder. I wonder what goes on when I'm not watching out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I would be so tempted to like want to put like something like that, a trail cam up or something, but then I would also be freaked out. Be like I don't know what I'm gonna find,
Oh yeah.
And it's like, what am I gonna see? What happens when I'm sleeping? You know what I mean? Like and so
almost ignorance is bliss.
Yeah. But I don't know, some strange things out there. So
well, like my fear of always doing something like that is like Paranormal Activity came out, and like there was the whole idea of like recording what's going on while you're asleep inside your own bedroom. And like my fear was like what if I put up a camera and like some dude's like walking around my house at night while I'm passed out in bed? Like what if that's what I see, and it's not paranormal, it's not some demon or ghost where I can just be like, the power of Christ compels you to get out of my room. It's like some dude like just like chilling, eating my Cheerios and like watching me sleep,
Cheerios have been I could tell something's going on.
Like my Cheerio level was this high, and now today it's this high, and there's a chip in my drumstick. I know you've been touching my drums.
My chair gets turned ever so slightly. I've noticed there's a distinct pattern in the cushion now. I think there's aliens. And then you go and you put the camera in, and you're like, oh, it's
just my wife.
She's been eating my Cheerios.
Dadgummit, not again. Gotta go hide my Cheerios.
But like, there's definitely that factor of like, oh, geez, like, what am I gonna find? That's almost like it's almost like, do I want to know? Do you guys remember when Elon Musk sent up the satellites for Starlink? And did you guys see that? It actually was here too. You could see it across the sky. It was like a big formation of just like satellites that looked like lights in the sky at night. And it was freaking people out because they were like,
freaked me
what
out,
is it? If nobody knew what it was. And then eventually they all realized that, it was like 20 something satellites that he had like sent up to space, And like, that's
what if we did that just to troll everyone? Just like,
right?
They're not satellites. They're just blinking lights up in the sky.
Just kind of blinking. They float around Earth and freak people out. But I was like thinking to myself, like, it reminded me of that scene from Signs, where it's like there's like the lights above, like is it like Mexico City or something, and they're just like they're not going away.
Yeah.
And everybody got freaked out, and I got kind of freaked out, and then someone was like, "No, it's not that. It's this.
Elon Musk.
He just sent some satellites up, so just more space junk."
I've heard a lot of theories about like how the space around the Earth is getting too junked up, that like the idea of us like going back and forth from Mars is going to be a lot more difficult just because we have so much junk in our atmosphere, or like further out in orbit, that like they're gonna try to figure out how to clean up our space outside of Earth before they can actually like be able to accurately
send people out.
Yeah, because like once a satellite goes down, they're just kind of like, oh, okay, it'll either fall to Earth or burn or like go away, and not a whole lot of it is going away. So now they're like, all right, well, to get from A to B, we got to make sure C is clear.
We just made our own like asteroid field.
Yeah. So
that doesn't sound like too far of a theory, though.
Yeah, I mean, I believe it. Like our oceans are like that.
Oh my gosh, I went to the ocean like this past summer. And when I was on the beach, like there's not just sand anymore. It's all plastic. Like there's little bitty pieces of plastic all over the place.
For real, yeah.
And like it's sad, man.
It is sad. Yeah. We need to like get the technology, like where they have like the giant net right now,
Yeah.
That they'll like go to just like what is that, like what's the term, where you're like
Dragging it?
Yeah, basically like dragging the top. You know, because it like
Or
there's
skimming the surface.
Yeah, and there's that like whole portion of the ocean of the Pacific that's like, I forget what they nicknamed it, but basically
like that trash.
Yeah,
trash.
it's like an island of
Yeah.
literally like an island of trash, and it's like where all of the currents kind of like push to each other, and all the trash just kind of like, and so it's just plastic. You know what I mean? But we need to like create some like that's what Elon needs to make next is find a way to drag the atmosphere with a giant net and just pick up all the space trash.
That seems like something from like Mel Brooks movie. You know what I mean?
I was thinking like Futurama. Futurama. What we need to do is we need to get all the robots to like stand on one side of the planet, push us a little further away from the sun.
Yeah.
Anyone who's watched Futurama knows what I'm talking about. Sorry. Yeah.
They know, Mel.
They know.
They know.
I'm sorry. I have faith in you.
So
everyone.
back to paranormal stuff.
Paranormal things.
So have you had any your own experiences with paranormal stuff, like besides just you, Mel?
Oh, other than the alien, well, I've seen. Okay, so I feel like I've seen a lot of things, like weird things. What was that? Because I came up in the theater, like during high school. So, and theaters are just like a hotbed of like superstition, like the fact that like on a theater stage at night when like after everyone leaves, what they do is they turn on a light and they call it the ghost light. And what it's believed is like any ghosts or spirits that are trapped in the theater, to make sure that they're happy and aren't alone in the dark, because you don't want to leave your ghosts and stuff alone in the dark. You leave on one light, and so that's what they call it, the ghost light, and it's on stage. And so
Ghost light.
Yeah, like there's been times where like in high school, I was working on the light rig, and with one of my partners, and she was like going through all the lights, and I was like adjusting them on stage, and then all of a sudden the lights, like the board just like shuts off, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, what happened?" And like none of the other lights were on in the theater, and I'm sitting like 2 stories up in the ceiling, like like my feet are dangling off the catwalk and everything, and I got like a wrench in my hand and like a hot light like in front of my face, and I'm like, what's going on? And she's like, I don't know, like the lights aren't coming on. And all of a sudden, out of like my left ear, I hear like breathing, just like in my left ear, and I'm like, what is that? Just like, yeah, just.
Oh my
and I hear like, and because it like the catwalk is like made out of grates, like I hear like that little tinkling, like a shifting of like the grate like next to me, like something's walking towards me, and I'm like, oh my gosh! And so I start screaming. I'm like, dude, turn on the lights, turn on the lights, turn on the lights. And she's like, that's not working. So she's like flipping switches and everything. Finally,
you're up there by yourself.
Yeah, I was
right?
up there by myself, and it's completely dark. And all of a sudden, like literally, like as soon as I hear it start to get close to me, the lights just like boom turn on, like all of them at the same time. Like even like the house lights, everything like flips on. And she was like, what was that? And I was like, I don't know, something. And so I like book it.
Mm-hmm.
But like the direction on my left was the closest to the stairs, and so it was in a big horseshoe. So instead of like running to my left the closest to the stairs, I had to run all the way around, which was still freaky on its own, because the catwalk was like soldered together and with baling wire and like other stuff. So yeah, but that was fun. I mean,
yeah.
I'm not against like
that was
paranormal encounters,
Turn the lights on.
Yeah,
turn the lights on.
Yeah, always turn the lights on, and carry a flashlight, at least 2, maybe extra batteries. You never know.
I remember like just being a kid and being afraid to keep your closet open, because it was just dark in there,
Oh yeah.
It's like, I'm gonna close that door. And then at some point, I remember. I don't know. I don't know what I thought was in there. It wasn't like I thought there was like a monster. I don't know. I just didn't like the darkness, like at night. Like
too dark.
At night, you'd have like your window in your room. So like you could still like, there was lights and you could still sort of see, right? That real like, real low light inside your room.
Mm-hmm.
But then you'd have your closet, and the closet was like just pitch black in there, you know. It was just like this dark abyss, you know.
Like a teleport.
Yeah, you know, you didn't know what was in there, you know.
Like the portal to Hades was in your closet.
I thought I was going to hell. I didn't want to deal with that. But I just remember closing my door a lot when I was a kid. And then at some point I remember like feeling like I need to like face this fear, you know? And so you're like, okay, it's nighttime. It's dark. My closet door is open. I'm going to walk over there, you know?
Yeah.
And you got this uneasy feeling like there's something going to be in there. I don't know what, but something, you know? So you go over there and it's like pitch black inside and you just kind of feel around and then you turn the light on and you're like, there's nothing here.
Oh my
It's
goodness.
a closet. But like, you know, you're a kid, you know, like that, like you don't, you let your imagination like run, you know, but it also didn't help. Right. So we all grew up in like, going to the, same church.
Yeah.
And,
oh my goodness, I have a few stories about that.
and it will, so the scary thing, well, so it was scary in general at night when the lights were off. Right?
Yeah.
But I remember we
This is a
used to,
huge property too.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. And there in the back, there was a big hall. And before it became like a big hall, it used to be, there was a hallway and
And a
then
whole bunch of classrooms.
Yep. Some classrooms on the side and a nursery. And so when you were the last person to leave, you had to go upstairs to the second story by yourself.
Yeah. Turn off all the lights.
Yep.
and everything.
All the way at the end of the big long hall. So you go up there.
And that hall was like the Shining hall. It
Yeah.
was like something out of the Shining. You knew as soon as you come around the corner, you're gonna see like something scary.
Yeah, you know, or you wouldn't recognize the shape. You know what I mean? Because there was
Yeah.
like, you know, it was like a kid's classroom, so there's always like cutouts of stuff, you know, like construction paper cutouts on the walls,
Yeah.
and stuff, you know, those weird figures, you know. So yeah, you go all the way to the end, and you'd have to flip the light switch off, and then you make your way to the next room and turn that off. And so if you ever looked back, it was just black. It was just dark back that way,
completely dark.
you know. And then on top of it, like it was very creaky. You
Yeah.
know? And so when you walk, you could hear a creak, but then when you hear other creaks,
Yeah.
it would freak you out. Like, is there someone else up here?
Yeah, you
know?
could like hear footsteps upstairs, but there was nobody else there.
Yeah.
And you're like, what?
And so yeah, my experience was just that it was just a very unsettling feeling. And it's just like it could be like that anywhere, you know, in the dark.
yeah.
But specifically, I remember in the church just feeling very uneasy about being up there at night in the dark, you know. So
Well, I remember like everyone's explanation for like being like, oh, like if I was like telling my parents, I was like, man, it's kind of creepy upstairs, and you know, I feel uncomfortable, and they'd be like, well, remember that it's God's house and God is with you at all times. And it's like, yeah, but like to my primordial fear-induced brain, like
Chuck, I'm just a kid.
I'm just a kid, and like, you know, my brain is wired to like hearing creaks and voices and things like
You know what
that,
would be
like
funny?
high pitched.
It's like you would hear your parents say that, and there'd always be somebody there in the crowd to be all, well, the devil goes to church too. And you'd be like, oh my gosh, no.
You're like, oh.
He's here, I know it.
Some troll just messing with you. Just trolling you. But like, yeah, there was some, and then like, I think we got into like middle school and it turned into more of a like challenge of like,
How
know,
dare
you to
are
go
you?
upstairs
yeah,
and
dare you to
touch the
walk.
wall.
Yeah, go to the end of the hall, touch it, come back, you know?
Yeah.
It was-
Well, did you ever hear the little kids?
I didn't, but I remember you telling me
Yeah,
your
the-
experience.
like, okay, so I feel like I've had like a bunch of experiences paranormally, especially with like, I guess I would be like ghost or whatever. And I remember like I was sitting up there doing my homework at night because I was like, yeah, like that whole like, I'm gonna test myself and like prove that like nothing's going on and everything.
I'm not scared.
I'm not scared. You can't scare me. So I'm sitting there and all of a sudden I hear like people walking around, like running, like the little kids, like just going boom, 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 boom. And I was like, what was that? And I was like, because the fact is I was the only one there. Like there was my parents who were doing stuff downstairs and I was upstairs sitting in the dark. Well, not like dark, but like in like with one room's light on, and I hear stuff moving around, and I'm like, okay, it's time to get out of here. Because either one, it's some kind of animal that's gotten in, or two, it's something paranormal. And either way, let's not
Not trying to mess with that.
Oh man, or the fire escape
the
upstairs.
fire
Oh,
escape
that
is
was
scary.
Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It like like it was just like an old stairwell that went out the side, and it was just the creepiest thing ever.
Well, I think the thing that freaked me out about the stairwell that went outside, because it was a fire escape that just led up to the second store and then led out to the alley behind that, is that at one point I believe there was a homeless man who had broken into that stairwell and was living in there. And so like the idea of like I could be alone in the church and like open up the thing. And,
Well, there's been times where the church had been broken into.
Yeah.
And people were.
Oh, it got broken into by Satanists. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That was a little creepy.
Yeah. But like, then you get beyond like, okay, well, maybe it's not ghosts, but you're like, it could be someone who broke in.
It could be a real life person.
Oh yeah, because it was in the horrible neighborhood. So
yeah, it wasn't. It was in a pretty bad part of town in that sense. It was just close to. I mean, it was close to like Central, where just a lot of like unfortunately, a lot of the homeless,
homeless
population
people
was in the area. So, but yeah, I just and the stairwell itself. So the whole building used to be a wasn't it used in like for like manufacturing?
Yeah,
in World War II.
Yeah, something like that. I don't remember like the full history, but they were in some kind of clothing production, something to do with that. And I guess they had sewing machines and things like that. And so like in the process of like, at one point we had been trying to change some of the lights and things like that, update them. There was like cloth and stuff like that had gotten into the electrical system that we had to clean out, and it was just old cloth.
But it's like the building itself was like the original building was just like a big cinder block
square.
Yeah, 2 stories square, and then they added the auditorium portion or the like I don't know, the auditorium portion later, But the original building, so everything is just very dated. You know what I mean? In that sense. And so the stairwell that was upstairs that led outside, it was, it was like
a time machine. You go in.
Yeah, because no one really did anything. It wasn't used regularly.
It was just a metal stairwell.
It was just a fire escape, something to get out of, at a jam. But like, nobody really did anything with it,
No.
And so there was always cobwebs.
And then it was even more weird because the men's bathroom had a window that connected to it.
Yeah.
And like we would try to dare each other, like, I dare you to crawl through it and go through the stairwell, because it was just such a creepy, it was a little creepy.
Well, I remember, I think maybe it was when that homeless man was in there. I remember someone saying that, like, nothing weird happened with the homeless man in the bathroom stairwell. But, like, I remember someone saying that they thought they saw a light coming from that window at the top, it was at the top because you could see it from the street. And there was light in the window. And they were like, that doesn't make sense. Well, it was like, it didn't make sense because...
That had no room.
Window, there was no room there. There was no light there.
Yeah.
There was no reason for there to be anything,
Mm-hmm.
And and then I think maybe we later found out that there was a homeless guy living there.
He had a little campfire.
Oh man.
That's funny. What else? So
we talked about a little bit about aliens and some ghosts. Yeah. What are some like? Actually, you know what? Maybe we should pause here and we will get back to you guys in a few minutes.
Yeah, we'll welcome you guys back with more conspiracy theories about alien skinwalkers and Jackie Chan's pants.
Thanks.
Thanks. Hey guys, thanks for listening. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe.
And if you have any questions, you can always DM us on Instagram at Off Reservation Podcast, and maybe we'll even answer it in a future episode. Now on with the show. Hey guys, welcome back after those wonderful advertisements or whatever else we put in the middle of this episode.
Whatever
Whatever it was. You guys listened to it and we're very appreciative that you listened to it. Sometimes I can't use words.
But that's okay.
It's okay.
But words use me.
The problem is using the words, not letting the words use me. And I lost the words.
Is that what the guy? Is that what they whispered to you on the catwalk?
Yeah, I hear whispers. No, that's not good. He was just tired.
I hear voices.
He's an apathetic ghost, just kind of like.
It's just a real sigh of like, I gotta do this again.
Do you remember that movie, The Sixth Sense? That was a pretty good movie.
Is it okay to like disclose the fact
It's like
that
1998, 1999.
we can't get
If they haven't watched it, then sorry,
spoilers?
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
That's spoiler alerts. Yeah, that's
Bruce Willis is dead.
yeah. I see dead people.
I see dead people. That little kid, like, he had the perfect face for scary stuff like that.
Who was that actor?
Haley Joel Osment.
Oh.
He went on to do Secondhand Lion, and that was good. That was a good one.
Yeah, he was a pretty prominent child actor. He did Artificial Intelligence with
That's right.
Steven Spielberg. That was pretty good. And then he kind of went away for a while, and then now he's kind of making a resurgence.
Yeah.
He was in what is that? I think he was he in Silicon Valley?
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Oh. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I haven't seen it.
No, he's coming back. He got
He's bringing it back.
He got a little portly, He's put on,
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about now.
He's got a big beard now.
What was he in? He was in something else recently too.
He was on Entourage, the movie.
That's right.
Oh yeah,
That's right.
he was like the cowboy. Yeah, he was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's
the one.
Hey man, speaking of cowboys,
Segways.
we're still trying to get that segue, guys. So
So yeah, donate the money,
make sure you subscribe, donate. No,
and wherever that money goes, it'll go to the Segway. I mean, wherever you find to deliver your money to. I don't know.
Callbacks. Yeah.
Segways.
Anyways, so no, this is the all paranormal episode of Off the Reservation. We've discussed a little bit about aliens, some alien stories that we've heard of and read, and then we're gonna kind of move into something a little different here now.
A little bit different because it's
a little more specific,
It's more
a little more indigenous.
Indigenous. It's skinwalkers. I mean, I know, like, from what I've known is from what I've learned is that natives don't really like talking about skinwalkers, mostly because the fact that, like, to speak about it is to invite it into your life. And guess what? We already, like, we're putting out a podcast. We're expecting to get, like, negativity at some point thrown at us. Why not just, like, toss it out as skinwalkers? So if you are not interested or have any issue with the topic of skinwalkers, then we suggest that this is the time in which you might want to, back off for a bit. Just maybe join us on our next episode because we're going to talk about it. Because who doesn't like a good skinwalker story?
Ooh. Dun, dun, dun. So, all right. So for those of you who don't know what skinwalkers are, can you guys give a brief definition of how you know it?
Yeah, so I've always known that, or not known, but I've always heard that skinwalkers are Navajo witches.
Yeah.
And or Dene witches, if we're being correct here.
Yeah, and a lot of them have are basically ill intentions. They've are known to kill people, have done through ceremonies and things like that. Doing songs in native culture, like you're not supposed to leave your hair laying around, like when you comb out your hair and everything, and everyone collects it. You're supposed to burn it just in case somebody wants to witch you. They can do mystical stuff with your hair and harm you in that way.
But what I was going to say was one of the characteristics of a skinwalker is they're considered shapeshifters. Like they can change into animals and change back again. And so that's another characteristic that they have. And so a lot of times skinwalker stories will incorporate seeing something turn into an animal and then turn back to a human form. Which is kind of interesting because that's exactly what I saw. And some of us, have had our own personal experiences with seeing things like that. But one night, we were traveling along and we came around this bend in the road. You could tell nobody had been on it for quite some time.
And it was in Albuquerque?
Yeah, it was in Albuquerque. Yeah, pretty close to Albuquerque area. And as we were traveling along, the front of it was pretty dark, and so the lights came off the road as we were turning, and as they came back on the road, like you could tell we startled him just as much as he startled us, and he was digging in a trash can, and he lifted his head out, and we could physically see that it was this
like a human,
yeah, like a man, but completely covered in white paint. And he looked at us and he just started running the opposite direction. And so anytime I've ever heard skinwalker stories, they say, like, just press the gas and go. Like, you don't want to stick around or anything like that.
It's nothing you want to play with.
Yeah. And so, I wasn't driving. So I told the driver, I was like, just, step on the gas and go. And so as we were, accelerating, it took off running in front of us. And it was like, it gave itself like warp speed. It like, we were probably going 40 miles an hour and it like accelerated to like 100. And as it was running on both feet, it changed into a dog like in front of our very eyes and like just kept going faster and then scurried up this embankment and like we kept going. And like I was with a non-native, right? And like their mouths were just wide open, like, did we really see that? And like I knew instantly what it was. And so I didn't want to talk about it until we got back to the house. And so we got back and I told her, I was like, so you know what we saw here? And I explained to them what we saw. But you always hear stories, but seeing it happen in firsthand, like right in front of your eyes, is a completely different thing. But yeah, that was pretty crazy.
And I feel like as a native, like, even though like technically we're not supposed to talk about it because to talk about it will invite it, we've all heard stories about it, like from like older brothers, older cousins, aunts, uncles, that kind of a thing. And you hear about them every once in a while, just as like sometimes as like warnings and sometimes as like just like campfire story kind of situation. And like I remember our father had told us about one situation where he had encountered a skinwalker when he was I think he said he was somewhere around like 10, and he grew up in Tahajili, which is quite a distance out of Albuquerque, but definitely close, fairly close. And he said that when he was a kid, he was walking home at night, and his father, our grandfather, was the Baptist minister at the church there. And because he, being a Baptist minister, being a Native American and doing that, there were some people in the community who did not like the fact that he was a Baptist minister and were trying to run him out. And so they would get skinwalkers or medicine men and have them hang around trying to sing him out or
pretty much witch him
in some form or way. And he didn't really acknowledge it. He didn't really want to like encourage it or have anything to do with it, because he was just like, it's not for me. But our father, he had been walking home one night, and being a little kid during that time, he had his own bow and arrow that he had made. So he was walking home, and he said he had left one of his friends down at the day school and was walking up the hill. And all of a sudden, he started hearing something kind of following behind him. And anyone knows anything about the res, you got dogs everywhere. And so he said he stopped and he was called out all the dogs' names that he could think of. And he was, expecting a dog to walk up and like say hi to him or whatever. And nothing, no dog came up. And he was like, okay, well, that's weird. And kept walking. He began to hear rustling in the bushes next to him as he was walking. And he heard, he stopped and he was like, hey, whoever's there, leave me alone. And then he started walking again. He started thinking, oh man, I think it might be a skinwalker. Something's trailing me. And so he walked and heard it rustling again. And he ended up turning around, shooting 2 arrows in its direction. And he said he heard one hit. And he dropped his bow and took off running and got home. Well, the next day he ended up going back and looking to see, if he had hit something or, where his bow and arrows were. And when he came back to the spot where he had shot from, his bow was gone. And it was actually in the bushes where he had shot at. And the bow was laying on the ground and the arrows were laid over it in an X pattern. And he said that was it. He just broke the arrows, broke the bow, threw it away, and was like, I don't want any part of that. And so he had said that it was more than likely a skinwalker that he had encountered.
It's crazy that the part of New Mexico that Malachi is talking about is called Toajali or Canyoncito. And that butts right up next to this one of the other pueblos.
Laguna?
Yeah, Laguna.
Pueblo.
And there's actually a ton of conspiracy theories about Laguna Pueblo having a secret military base, miles under the ground, especially with all the uranium mines.
Oh, yeah.
And I have some friends that are from LA out there, and just hearing the stories that they would talk about, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I want to set a trail cam out and just like see what I could see. Because, a lot of those properties have been in their family forever. And so,
oh, yeah.
And things like that exist out there. It's not just, mystical or folklore, you know what I mean? Like there's a whole other veil to this, I guess, physical world that we can't see, which is just crazy that Native American people are in tune with that,
Well, at the same time, like in another way, like Native Americans also have medicine men, and medicine men do ceremonies in which to like heal people, to help people. And I think I had talked about it at one point during the naming ceremony episode. One of the Kiowa people that had been interviewed said that his uncle had gotten his name from a medicine man, and what had happened is when he was born, his uncle was born. His uncle was sick, and the parents had tried to do a few things with him and tried to heal him, get him healed, but it wasn't working, and so they ended up taking him to the medicine man, and the medicine man's medicine that he used was water. And so he would took the baby and himself and went out to into this lake for like a couple of hours and went under the water for a couple of was under the water with the baby for a couple of hours, and came back, and the baby was completely healed, and told his parents that his new name was comes from under the water. And so like there's also mystical aspects to that as well. Like there are good forces and bad forces and scary forces and conspiracy forces out there.
Just like Star Wars, you know.
The force is with us.
The forces, or what does he say? The Schwartz.
The Schwartz.
He got the upside. I got the downside. Oh man, he's got a Schwartz. I got the upside. I got the downside. Conspiracy theories are interesting. I think, like the idea of like the Loch Ness monster, right? Was it's like that. There's like I think there's the conspiracy that like. So there's the idea that, okay, the monster actually exists, right? That Nessie actually exists, you know, in the loch of Ness. And and then there's the conspiracy that like, okay, these are just photographs that people have been like posing and faking for so many years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like it's to the point where there's like scientists out there with like radar, you know, that are like they're scanning this like lake to see what is down there, you know. But like honestly, like for me, I'm like, you know, it's really not that far of a stretch. It maybe not necessarily that, like maybe not Nessie, right? But we don't like the idea. Space is freaky, right? But like the ocean is freaky, you know. Like what is down there, you know? Because we can only go so far, you know. Mm-hmm. And there's like I imagine there's just all of these different species of whatever down there that we don't know what's down there, and that in itself is really creepy. But you know, like I think it was, if it turns out that Nessie is you know, is fake, the ingenuity of these people to go out there and to create the story and this narrative and you know, put the like, it's like, you know, as a hoax, you know what I mean? Like that's some pretty creative, you know, stuff they're doing there, you know, like going out, taking these photos and just pushing this like story of it. But hey, you don't know. Yeah. We don't know, you know. There's so much about this world that we just don't know. And that's always like, you know, conspiracy theories, you know. Well, who's to say what's real and what's not, you know?
Well, I think what's interesting about the whole Nessie thing is like I've heard like there's so many theories about it, like the theory that it's a ancient dinosaur that was trapped underground due to the incredible depths that led from the ocean. It was underground caves and everything under the Loch Ness and everything, and that actually Nessie was actually a submarine spy used by the USSR.
Oh yeah,
everything, that kind of a thing. And, I always thought those were funny because I mean, what's the point of putting
a submarine in a lake?
In a lake, you know, and what's he spying on? If it is a submarine, like what are they? What is the purpose of having a submarine? But then if you look at it, like even further, like what was it? My wife and I went to go visit her family in Idaho, and they have their own Loch Ness kind of monster.
Oh,
and
really?
if you go to like other places with like large bodies of water, they all have this kind of tie to like some kind of lake monster that they have, and people see him or like interacts with their boat. And I think the interesting idea is that like just because like Loch Ness occurred, therefore now you have all these other Loch Ness monsters popping up all over the place, which kind of reminds me of what was it, the monoliths that occurred. Like there was the one that popped up in Utah, and then one that popped up in New Mexico, and then there was one that popped up like across the ocean, and like all over the place. Pretty soon these monoliths were popping up, and like people were like, what are these? What do these mean? Is this some alien artifact? Is this some like, how did this get here? And then all of a sudden they disappeared just as like mysteriously as they appeared. And like people were like, well, maybe they were had some kind of inscription on them that that people were supposed to decipher in a certain amount of time for aliens to be like, okay, they're ready for us to make contact.
Oh man.
And so I don't know. I mean, like for me, what do I believe? I I want to believe there was aliens involved. I want to believe all these conspiracy theories that that it was the CIA, but at the same time,
It was just artists.
it was just some like really great artists. But the fact that they all popped up at the same time makes me think personally. This is my theory, is that there was a society of people who got together, met, at some place, artists, whatever they were, basically came up with this idea of hey, it'd be cool. So if we just punked the entire world and got together and made all these monoliths, and then within a matter of days of each other, we just throw them up and we put them out there, and people will lose their minds and be like, what are these? What do these mean? And then we take it all down and not tell anybody anything.
Just the ultimate
troll.
Yeah. And it worked, man. It was good.
It worked.
It was good, yeah. And if there were aliens involved, then
I'm sorry I didn't decipher it.
We didn't get the message.
Give us another try.
Just can you replay it?
Like that movie Arrival. Did you ever see that one? Where the big ship just appears and it's what is it? And then they're trying to figure it. It's crazy. And it's just just appears out of nowhere in the middle of nowhere. It's yeah.
I'm about it.
There.
I mean, if you want to contact me, you know where I live, because you probably already have tried to contact me. Just make it a little bit more obvious.
Did you ever see that movie Arrival?
No.
Have you?
No.
Oh man, you guys really got to see it.
Really?
It's a really good movie. It's really good. It's a bit of a mind bender.
It's hard because I personally believe there's aliens, right? And so sometimes it's just man, it's too freaky to mess with in your head,
Yeah.
Well, how do you explain, what was it, the Fire in the Sky?
Yeah, that was a crazy movie.
They made a movie, but it was a real situation where that guy gets abducted, supposedly gets abducted by aliens, and then his entire experience, going through trying to get back to Earth, and then all of a sudden he comes back and that guy's all messed up after that. I mean, you can't have taken the brown acid and,
yeah, that's
especially with so many officials trying to find him during that time. The police were looking for him, his friends were looking for him. Yeah, most of my information I got from that movie.
I remember we would be going to an art show and we would be driving through that part of Arizona, and that would always get brought up. And we're driving through there at night, and it's dark, and all you can see is all the forest. And then someone's like, "Hey, do you remember they filmed Fire in the Sky out here?" And then I remember being a little kid, just "Oh my gosh, we're gonna get abducted."
Okay, so that specifically, I remember that because I remember it was back in the early 2000s. I was just maybe 10 years old, maybe younger. And I remember we were driving through there, and we actually, first of all, we got lost trying to get to Phoenix. Dad had taken the wrong exit at some point and was and Mom was upset with him because she was why did you take that exit? I told you which exit to take. And he was oh, it's okay. We'll just go through the mountains. The mountains where those that guy got abducted, and and I was being a little 10-year-old, and I'm supposed to be asleep listening to my parents, and my mom's "Hey, stop talking about that. That's not the time. Not the time to be talking." And it was "Oh yeah, well, remember they did this," and he just let go and told basically the entire story. And I was sitting there, and all of a sudden I'm "Oh my gosh, we're going to get abducted by aliens. This is so bad. I don't want to get abducted." And I remember I started crying because I'm freaked out. And then eventually my mom was "Mal, are you okay?" I was "I don't want to get abducted by aliens." She was "See what you did." And it was and then our dad was "We're not going to get abducted by aliens. That's okay. We'll be fine. We'll make it to Phoenix. Everything's going to be okay. Just go to sleep."
You know what's funny is I remember that, and we were coming around the corner, and I think it was right when they were having forest fires through there, and so we're driving, and then you could see a glow of red in the distance, and we're "Oh my god, it's an alien spacecraft."
Yeah. Well, what do you think about like aliens like creating doppelgängers? Like, what do you think of that?
Oh man.
Do you think they abduct people and then create like clones of them and then like send them back?
The body snatchers.
The body snatcher theory. Like how do I know that I'm not my own doppelganger? Do you think I would know?
Did you ever see the movie Enemy?
No.
Same director as Arrival. Man, you got to get on the Denis Villeneuve. So this movie is about Jake Gyllenhaal, and he has an enemy. but who is our own worst enemy?
Me?
Yeah. And so, anyways, in the story, it unfolds, man. It's creepy. It's weird the way it all happens. You know, you should see it though. It's interesting. The doppelganger idea is it's creepy.
You know, have you seen those like Instagram posts or like TikTok or stuff where you see like a group of people and they don't know each other and they're all standing in the line and they're all wearing the same clothes, you know,
Yeah.
and they're all wearing the same, you know, they're all drinking the same thing.
Is that a triple ganger?
Yeah, like it's and so you wonder if those things are real or if they're just staged or photoshopped. You know, you wonder how those those things come together.
I don't know, guys.
I don't know.
I don't know, boys.
For everyone that's listening to our podcast and not watching it,
But no, they should go to YouTube.
they should
And they
definitely
should
go to
watch it.
YouTube. You should watch it.
You should go to YouTube. Check it out.
You'll see why.
You'll see what the suiting up, zipping effect is in reference
Zoltan.
to. All right, guys.
The first podcast sponsored by Michael Jordan.
Air Jordans.
We're gearing up for
Starting lineup.
Starting line.
oh
I
man.
kind of like it. I mean,
Yeah, this is really nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't want to
could
stretch out the neck too much.
drop some 3-pointers and still stay comfy.
Don't get on your neighborhood hoops, man. That's
Okay,
us.
and like that, I've talked to other people and they've been like, how can you like put in a in-ground basketball hoop and not expect people to come and want to play at your hoop like that?
not
That's
wanting to let. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Oh, it was
Yeah,
right at the
kids.
time where they started making those real nice retractable. You know what I mean? So it had, you could go. It was
You could lift it?
Yeah, it was like a really it was a nice setup. I've never been a basketball player. I'm not a basketball player, but man, I felt that day I was. That day I was.
You could lower it so you could dunk on it.
Oh yeah, man. Feeling like Air
Get
Jordan
the
out
spirit
there,
of
man.
Geronimo with you.
Yeah. Oh man. All right, guys. Well, that is
I think
that wraps up our paranormal
episode.
Yeah, of Off the
And
Reservation.
if you got any stories out there, put it in the comments below.
Yeah.
Tell us about
Let
it.
us know. In fact, actually, maybe you should write them in, and maybe we'll put some together and we'll read them out. I mean,
Yeah, definitely. If you guys want to reach us, we've got ways.
we've got ways.
of being reached.
We'll put it out. I mean, if you can also contact us on our Instagram and our Facebook page at Off the Reservation Podcast.
Off the Reservation.
And yeah, be sure to like, subscribe, and
Tell your friends about us.
yeah, tell everyone about us.
Tell
Might
your
as well.
friends,
Everybody.
Be cool, man.
Random people.
I like when people talk about me. Oh man. All
Have a
right,
good
guys.
week, guys.
Have a good week.
You guys have a good one.